Okay, so here we have some of the boxes that have been damaged. Can you show down here, Michael? These boxes are completely saturated and they're falling apart. And if we go inside these boxes, you can see that this box is saturated from the top to the bottom. It's soaking wet, soaked in toilet overflow water. Every single box in here is wet. Any electrical parts that are in here are damaged. Every box, you can see the paper is falling apart. They're just soaked. Here's a box that is falling apart now. Here's an electrical component that's in a box that's so wet that the top fell in. I mean, you could literally wring water out of these things. It's hard to capture on a video. We're going to count the number of parts in here, but I'm going to guess that there's probably about 20 pieces in that particular box. And this thing is so wet that it's hard to put the top back on, and it smells bad. Here we've got one. You can see that this lamp assembly is completely soaked. When you press into it, it's just falling apart. Some of these we were able to pour water out of, but lamps that are soaked in water are not particularly good. So there is some percentage of parts in here that we would say are compromised, and there's some parts that are destroyed. And we're going to go through these 5 boxes here. They're just a random sample of what we've got, and we're going to go through these boxes. I can't even, these boxes are falling apart as I'm trying to take them apart. We're going to go through these boxes and we're going to determine what parts are destroyed and what parts have been rendered borderline unsaleable because of the water. Some of them are okay, like something like this made out of chrome presumably is not going to be damaged by the water, but there's an awful lot of pieces that are going to be damaged by the water, like for instance this little thing. That's a metal piece that's going to rust, and it's just an absolute disaster. These boxes have been drying out for several days now. I don't even know if the bottom's going to hold on this, but these boxes have been drying out for several days. When we were first picking them up, we were pouring water out of them. Now here's a piece that is an electrical component. This one doesn't look too bad. It did get wet. I mean, look at that. You can't really sell an electrical component that got wet. Some of this stuff's going to be perfect because it's in plastic bags. And what we're going to have to do, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through these boxes and come up with an average number of how many pieces are in each box, and we'll be able to calculate a precise number of what was in the 140 or so boxes that were soaked. And then we're going to have to come up, I think, with some kind of percentage of how many pieces were salvageable and how many pieces were compromised and how many pieces were destroyed. And based on what I'm seeing, I think it's probably about 20% were fine. Probably 30% are salvageable if you consider a box to be soaked in toilet water to be salvageable. And then 50% are probably throwaway. But I'm open to discussion. It's a friggin' disaster. I mean, this box is completely soaked. And like I said, when we were picking these boxes up and moving them on Friday, look at that. When we were picking these boxes up on Friday and moving them, there was water pouring out of the boxes. But they've had several days to dry out. Okay, thanks, Michael.